Tuesday, we out here. Tuesday, the new Monday. It's been that way for a while though, so I don't know if it's a new Monday. Anyways, hope everybody's doing well. Good evening, friends and fellow health enthusiasts. I'm Dr. Joaquin Acosta, your guide and companion on this empowering journey of health and wellness. Also, the CEO of PharmTrue, bringing you another exhilarating episode of the Know Your Pharmacist live stream. Today, as we stand at the crossroads of healthcare innovation and traditional wisdom, we're set to explore an array of topics that touch the very core of our well-being. From the challenging dynamics in the pharmacy world shaped by recent policy shifts to the cutting-edge advancements in mental health technology, we're here to navigate these waters together with both wisdom and empathy. As we delve into these topics, guys, let's remember the power of collaboration and connection. Through these shared experiences and collective expertise that we can transform challenges into opportunities for growth and understanding. This evening, we will brainstorm, uncover, and discuss solutions that not only inform, but also inspire. But that's not all. We'll also journey into the realm of herbal wellness, exploring just how nature's bounty can complement modern medicine to enhance our health via cannabis extraction, which is a very, very sticky subject indeed. And let's not forget the cultural extravaganza awaiting us at Vado Speedway Park, a testament to the vibrant spirit of our community. 2-day show at the end of this week. Mariachi's out there Friday and Saturday. We'll highlight that. So sit back, guys, relax, and prepare to be captivated. We're about to embark on an informative and engaging ride that promises to be as enlightening as it is enjoyable. Together, let's discover, learn, and grow. Our goal tonight is not just to share knowledge, but to create a space where passion for health meets the power of information. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, PharmTrue, High Horse Cannabis Company, Vado Speedway Park, and the Big Chicken Farm for their invaluable support. All right, let's dive into this evening full of insights, inspiration, and community spirit. Get ready to be intrigued, informed, and inspired, guys. Here's to a great show full of captivity, creativity, expertise, and most importantly, your old-fashioned heart. Welcome, guys, to the Know Your Pharmacist live stream, where every conversation is a step towards a healthier, happier you. So check it out. Headline of the day. Is it misleading or not? Let's talk about it. A little bit above. Policy backfires. So we're talking about these very interesting situations here. Give me just 1 second. All right, we're just getting that all updated right there up at the top of the screen. For today, it's Vado tickets this weekend, baby. Make sure that's showing right. Anyways, back to our Pharmacist Frontline, sponsored by PharmTrue. So Biden administration's limit on drug industry middlemen backfires, pharmacists say. So it's going to be, yes, there's a little bit of backfiring, but at the same time, there's good things that came out of this. And I'm going to talk to you guys straight from the horse's mouth. Facebook friend, somebody I've worked with before, Ben Jolly, sharing his little critique on the article right here from LinkedIn. So Benjamin Jolly over here, he says, I'm quoted in this piece. I don't really like the headline. There's a cash flow crunch in March and April 2024 for pharmacists, and that's bad. But ending DIR fees was and remains the right move by the Biden administration. Personally, I'd like CMS to have a lot more regulatory authority to ensure that the contracts in offered remain reasonable and relevant, but the end of the DIR fees is unequivocally the right call by CMS. So what does that mean for everybody, guys? For pharmacies, pharmacy industry, things that we're seeing, pharmacy benefit managers have been created to poach the pharmacy pricing through things like DIR fees, right? And they literally do not do anything besides steal money in the retro from pharmacies. If you guys have actually worked in the business, sure, you understand it. But for everybody else, that's for the fact of the matter. It's another, middleman business that's literally just been created to steal, drain, and, take from the pharmacy industry, especially independent pharmacies, because again, some of these big players are the guys that are also the pharmacy benefit manager companies, cough, cough, CVS, cough, cough, Walgreens. So anyways, what happened was Biden administration, as the article cites here, first major step towards imposing limits on pharmacy benefit managers who act as the drug industry's price negotiators is backfiring. Well, we've known what was going to happen, right? We knew the end of the DIR's fees was coming, and that basically pharmacy benefit managers were going to throw the kitchen sink in terms of the last amount of DIR fees to pharmacies so that they can, take the maximum amount of money as possible before the law stops them from doing so, and thus they'll switch their spread somewhere else, right? Whether it's drug pricing or whatever it is. We already pay the most inflated drug pricing in the entire world. So anyways, talking about that, good move here to stop the DIRs, but again, next year, first quarter is going to be pretty rough for pharmacies all across the country that have to take all these clawbacks, right? So you see misery for small pharmacies. You're filling this prescription, the PBM tells you the patient pays $20, they pay $100 to the pharmacy. So as a pharmacist, say, okay, you're going to get $120 and the drug costs you $110 to acquire. 3 months later, the PBM says, actually, I'm only going to pay you $83 versus the $110. So he lost $17 on the sale, or she, and I have no ability to object. So that's what these DIR fees, they just throw the kitchen sink in clawback pricing, on the retro, literally. So again, they try to measure it by patient adherence and some of these other things. However, it's just a big mess to talk about, guys. And where we look about the double whammies about being, penalized by, check this out, Express Scripts. Express Scripts hitting the double penalties here. So in the early fall, Express Scripts sent out confidential contracts announcing that in 2024, it's going to pay pharmacies roughly 10% below what they typically pay to buy wholesale brand name drugs, meaning they could lose money on every script they fill. According to 2 independent pharmacists who received the documents. Again, this is not for the preferred pharmacy, Walgreens, this is to everybody else. So either way, it's absolutely just taking completely, frustrating situation. There are Care Drugs right here, which runs 2 New Mexico pharmacies. Among those that refuse that Express Script contract, as all pharmacies preparing for the hardest part, which will be potentially transferring patients away. So yes, again, some people will stick with independence for whatever reason and ways that good independence can make it worth. I can tell you, Ashley Saferth up there in Aztec, New Mexico, doing that. Care Drugs is absolutely more than accommodating to all her patients. It's going to get people taken care of for sure. Definitely leaving that one out there, but checking it out. Hi, Bruce Pickens. What's up, man? Thanks for the shout out. You doing all right? So that's the crazy world of the pharmacy industry, guys. And, what we're talking about here is pharmacy, changes are going to be coming in next year. And there's a lot of meat on that table there. So not only are you seeing, pharmacists fed up, you're seeing pharmacies fed up, and just, the collapse of an industry to some degree, but perhaps, it's the burning of the, ceremonial sage here on the pharmacy industry, and we finally get through to something good. I smell it. Let's move on. So this is interesting, right? Study for our tech talk here. November's Mental Health Awareness Month. Technically, I guess Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. But again, this is important, I think, for everybody here in the month. But check this out. Study, Chatbots, effective in supporting self-management of depression symptoms. This study from Singapore evaluating the effectiveness of mental health chatbots in helping alleviate symptoms of depression. The study, whose findings have been published in the Journal of Affective Disorders, tested 9 mental health chatbots with at least 500,000 downloads each from major app stores. 4 of these, Marvin, Serenity, Wobot, and 7 Cups, are free to use, while the remaining 5, Happify, InnerHour, Whooper, Wysa, and Tomo, are subscription-based. So, interestingly enough, evaluated using script user personas that were created to reflect different cultures, ages, genders, as well as different levels of depressive symptoms. The research team assessed the quality of the effectiveness of the chatbot's responses, the level of personalization and appropriateness in supporting self-management of depression, and how they conveyed empathy to users. Their study also observed how the chatbots guided users to engage in or complete mood-boosting activities and how they monitor moods and manage suicide risks. Interesting, right? So, based on the findings, the chatbots displayed a coach-like personality that is encouraging, nurturing, and motivating. They all engaged in empathetic and non-judgmental conversations with users and offered support and guidance through psychotherapeutic exercises commonly used by psychologists and counselors. However, they have yet to deliver personalized advice. So such studies suggested future research need to improve these tools for individuals at risk of suicide and to evaluate the long-term effectiveness of the chatbot-led intervention. So, it's not fully fleshed out that everything is perfectly going to work, but where you're looking at free possible solutions of apps that you can download to talk to with these little chatbots, Marvin, Serenity, Wobot, and 7 Cups, Men Mental Health Month, even women, whoever, check out these. Dr. Marvin, right? Why does it matter? About half or more than 250 million depression cases globally are underdiagnosed and untreated. According to the World Health Organization, healthcare systems worldwide are still overwhelmed with, of course, COVID and people showing up with mental health concerns. So showing on that, though, the US-based Wobot last year found that nearly half of its AI chatbot users polled are willing to converse with a mental health chatbot. So, some people might like the idea of talking to a very neutral, artificial piece of intelligence there versus, sharing your thoughts with a person or whatever that may be. And especially if they're built to, help you get through things, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all, right? When you look at that, guys. So again, Wobot, US-based, Marvin Serenity, 7 Cups. Cool stuff. And this is going to be a good segue into our Enlightenment Hour, though, into the key to personal growth. So, someone that may not accept using a chatbot or using technology to help enhance their life might not have a growth mindset. That may affect a lot of other things, especially because of the way, the future of the world is going. So I wanted to kind of share some information with everybody here. We're going to do a little video here talking about the growth mindset and what that really kind of entails here, because truly, looking at this, perceiving a mind and entity influences how one interacts with it, and it is crucial in social life. So you're going to look at, did the growth mindset come from somewhere? Yes, it absolutely did. This was started over 30 years ago from Dr. Dweck. Carol Dweck, and this is going to be Carol Dweck actually talking, the one who picked this up.
Today, I want to tell you about the power of yet. I learned of a high school in Chicago where students had to pass 84 units to graduate, and if they didn't pass, they got the grade not yet. I thought, isn't that wonderful? Because if you fail, you're nowhere. But if you get the grade not yet, you're on a learning curve. Not yet gave them a path into the future. And not yet also helped me understand a critical experience early in my career. To figure out how kids coped with challenge, I gave 10-year-olds some problems that were a little too difficult for them. Some of them reacted in a shockingly positive way. They said things like, "I love a challenge," or "I was hoping this would be informative." They understood that their abilities could grow through their hard work. They had what I call a growth mindset. But other children, for them it was tragic, catastrophic. From their more fixed mindset perspective, their core intelligence had been tested and devastated. Instead of the power of yet, they were gripped by the tyranny of now. So, what did they do next? In one study, after a failure on a test, they said they'd cheat next time instead of study more. In another study, they found someone who did worse than they did so they could feel better. And in many studies, we found they run from difficulty. Let's look at how that looks in the brain. Mosher and his colleagues measured from the brain as kids encountered errors. Processing the error shows up in red. If you look at the fixed mindset brain on the left, nothing is happening. But if you look at the growth mindset brain on the right, it's on fire with yet. They're processing the error deeply, learning from it, and correcting it. So, how are we raising our kids? Are we raising them for now or for yet? Are they focused on the next A or test score instead of dreaming big, instead of thinking about what they want to be and how they want to contribute to society? And if they are too focused on A's and test scores, are they going to carry this with them into the future? Maybe because many employers are coming to me and saying, we've already created a generation of young workers who can't get through the day without an award. So, what can we do? How can we build that bridge to yet? First, we can praise wisely. Our research shows that when we praise kids for the process they engage in, their hard work, their strategies, their focus, their perseverance, they learn that challenge seeking, they learn that resilience. Praising talent, praising intelligence makes them vulnerable. There are other ways of rewarding yet. We teamed up with game scientists at the University of Washington to create a math game, Brain Points. The typical math game rewards right answers right now, but not brain points. We rewarded process and the learning curve, so effort, strategy, and progress. The Brain Points game created more sustained learning and greater perseverance than the standard game. And just the words yet and not yet after a student has a setback, we're finding creates greater confidence and greater persistence. We also can change students' mindsets directly. In one study, we taught students that every time they pushed out of their comfort zone to learn something really, really hard and they stuck to it, the neurons in their brain could form new, stronger connections, and over time, they could become smarter. Those who learned this lesson showed a sharp increase in their grades. Those who did not showed a decrease. We have done this with thousands of students now across the country with similar results, especially for struggling students. So let's talk about equality. In our country, there are groups of kids who chronically show poor performance, and many people think that's inevitable. But when educators create growth mindset environments steeped in yet, equality can happen. Let me just give you a few small examples. One teacher took her Harlem kindergarten class, many of whom could not hold a pencil for the first month, through daily tantrums. She took them to the 95th percentile on the National Achievement Test. That same teacher took a 4th grade class in the South Bronx, way behind. She took them to the top of New York State on the state math test. That teacher is a Stanford grad, and she's here today. And another Stanford grad, a PhD student, Stephanie Freiberg, now a professor, went back to her Native American reservation in the state of Washington. She transformed the elementary school in terms of a growth mindset. That school had always been at the bottom of the district, at the bottom of the state. Within a year to a year and a half, the kindergartners and first graders were at the top of the district in reading and reading readiness. That district contained affluent sections of Seattle, so the reservation kids outdid the Microsoft kids. And they did it because learning a growth mindset transformed the meaning of effort and difficulty. It used to mean they were dumb, and now it means they had a chance to get smarter. Difficulty just meant not yet. Last year, I got a letter from a 13-year-old boy. He said, "Dear Professor Dweck, I read your book already." I like the fact that it was based on sound scientific research. That's why I decided to test out your growth mindset principles in 3 areas of my life. As a result, I'm earning higher grades. I have a better relationship with my parents. I have a better relationship with the other kids at school. I realize I've wasted most of my life. Let's not waste any more lives, because the more we know that basic human abilities can be grown, the more it becomes a basic human right for kids, all adults, to live in environments that create that growth, to live in environments filled, overflowing with yet. Thank you.
Anyways, pretty cool, guys. Like a little bit more about Dr. Dweck here, and literally Dr. Dweck's been doing this for a long time. As you can tell, she's not necessarily a young lady by any means, and that testament to her experience there, right? So over 30 years ago, Carol Dweck and her colleagues became interested in students. Guys, I'm sharing this with you right now from her website. Let me fix that up. Interested in students' attitudes about failure. They noticed that some students rebounded while some students seemed devastated by setbacks. After studying the behavior of thousands of children, Dr. Dweck coined the terms fixed mindset and growth mindset to describe underlying beliefs about how people have about learning and intelligence. So when students believe they can get smarter, they understand that effort makes them stronger. Therefore, they put in extra time and effort, leading to the higher achievement. As you just saw, rolled out there, that all comes down to brain and neuroplasticity. Very, very interesting, mindset deal that we could really, really use even more so in our society, right? Especially as such a trauma-stricken, culture sometimes. Anyways, take a good look at her stuff. Hope to encourage some of that with you guys. Hope it makes some good sense there. I'm going to move on to Herbal Wellness Corner. We're going to take a turn here over into cannabis extraction and the means behind that, guys, because literally cannabis extraction is one of the hottest topics when it comes down to people who are using cannabis products, whether it's vapes, right, dabs, even rolled pre-rolls with, infused infusions in them, topicals, edibles, the whole thing. So I really like this guy's breakdown. I'm going to share it with you guys and we'll talk about it a little bit, just because, a lot of us aren't fully versed in what is going into our cannabis products, or why you might spend a little more or a little less on a product, and when to know whether that's a scam or not, right? Very interesting. So let's check.
On some cannabis shit today.
Yes, better.
Let's do that again. Harvard Law. Just kidding. Yo, cannabis lovers, welcome to Buds Being Media. My name is Matt Meredith and run Cottonmouth Media, where I'm documenting my life in the cannabis industry and occasionally getting stoned. Just occasionally. Let's get to the education, shall we? So what is this video all about? This video is all about cannabis concentrates and how to categorize them. And so we're gonna break them down into two main categories of solventless and solvent-based extracts. We're gonna learn about the differences between the two. We're gonna compare and contrast some of the pros and cons about solvent-based and solventless extracts. Let's talk about the solvent-based extracts first. The solvent-based extracts can include solvent-based extracts and solvent-free extracts. Solvent extracts use solvents like CO2, butane, ethanol, and propane to dissolve and separate the active ingredients from the plant. Then the active ingredients are separated from the solvent, leaving behind a THC concentrate. These concentrates can contain trace amounts of the solvent that they used to create them. If you buy from a dispensary, they are legally required to test below certain levels of those trace solvents. So that's solvent extracts, right? And now the solvent-free extracts. So solvent-free extracts start the same way as solvent extracts, but go through a much more rigorous distillation process to remove any trace solvents remaining. You might see people refer to oil concentrates by their consistency. For example, shatter, butter, live resin, wax, or distillate. The same extraction method can produce different consistencies, so it's really just up to the preference of the person creating it. So let's go over some pros and cons of the solvent-based extract. So some of the pros: it's cheaper and it's more accessible. Those are wins. The cons to solvent-based extracts: so there's health concerns with inhaling trace amounts of solvents. That's just basic. And then it's dangerous to make this yourself. So definitely don't try it at home. And I also don't think it's legal for the most part, most of the methods. So yeah, it's dangerous. The other category is solventless extracts. So solventless extracts use mechanical extraction rather than solvents to create the concentrate. There are many ways to achieve this, but the main thing that they have in common is that there's nothing but cannabis materials in the end product, because it's never come in contact with a solvent. So out of all of the solventless products, the most popular are probably keef, bubble hash, and rosin. Those are the most accessible at dispensaries if you live in a legal state. And bubble hash is actually one of the best products to use when pressing high quality rosin. So rosin stands out also for its ability to mimic virtually any concentrate on the market, even the solvent-based ones. From rosin sauce to rosin batter to live rosin to non-solvent THCA and rosin crystals or diamonds. Rosin can replicate and provide more options for consumers. So let's go over some of the pros and cons of the solventless extracts. The pros of the solventless extracts: so you have the ability to make it at home. In fact, home rosin presses are actually gaining tons of popularity, allowing consumers to create their own rosin at home rather than using a flat iron. No risk of inhaling solvents. And it's arguably a better flavor because you don't have any solvents tainting the terpenes or flavonoids in your cannabis. The cons of the solventless extracts. So one, it is harder to find. Not every dispensary is going to carry every single type of rosin, or necessarily even have rosin, depending what dispensary you're going to or what state you live in. And then it is also considerably more expensive, but you're paying for the quality, really. So, I mean, think about it. So in conclusion, you choose based off of your preferences, based off of your budget, and based off of the availability, depending where you are. I hope you poor lost souls learned something about solvent-based extracts and solventless extracts. Seriously, I hope you learned something. I'll see you guys in the next.
All right, so good overview on that, because I'm going to show you an image that hopefully really ties this all together. So again, and this is going to tie it all together for people who probably have been looking at things like this for a long time. But, for the rest of us, there's still probably a lot of questions to be answered. I completely resonate with that with you guys for sure. So let's take a look at this right here. I'm going to turn off the things on top of me just so you guys can see momentarily about this little graph. All right, cool. So right above me, boom, 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 talking extraction. So this is a really, really cool visual. I love it. And basically it shows right here, right? So the different types of extraction, again, you can have different material going in. You're either going to have fresh frozen material or cured material typically. So those are the two different types. They're going to have your cured resin, cured distillates, things in that nature, or your fresh frozen getting all the way to your live stuff. So look at this, guys. Very, very interesting. Water still is a solvent, but as he was talking about, propane, butane, CO2, you're coming out here, butane and propane, hydrocarbon extractions, getting you the live products, live resin cartridges. And yes, you're going to get, a lot of the preservation of the terpenes, the flavonoids, and the full phytocannabinoid profile. Same thing goes here with, pretty much your cured resin as well, because it's going to be cured. And when it cures, you really take it up another different notch in terms of preserving the flavor and actually generating that flavor that takes that time during the cure. So, whether you're that person that likes the fresh frozen cannabis extracts into straight up rosin, again, some people love the rosin and a lot of people don't make it because it's a very wasteful process in terms of the cannabis material, unless you truly were, very resourceful in everything you had in a chemical sense. So again, you're going to be doing heat press for rosin. You literally are smash press, heat, time, and pressure. And that's what you're doing, with this after a solventless wash through water. But then you're talking about burning out and boiling out butane and propane after a rinse, right? That is what you call distillation. And that is hydrocarbon extraction. It gets you to a whole different point there. And so where you look at that, right, you purge it out and you distill it, you end up with live resin there. If it's cured, it ends up being cured resin. You're preserving terpenes, you're preserving phytocannabinoids, but it just depends. It really depends on what you're willing to pay for. Again, just like how he said, what you want in terms of flavor, potency, and effect. People like to try different things, whatever it is. With the cannabis industry right now, especially in New Mexico, there's not strains that you're going to continuously get over and over again. So if you're seeing terpenes that are going to be repeated and some strains that are repeated, it's probably going to be very few amounts of dispensaries that would have had some very, timey genetics and times that they've been doing it for. But other than that, you're not going to see a whole lot right now in terms of, this person sour diesel by this genetics, you know what I mean, on this day and age. Either way. But yes, exactly. So heat plates and pressing that, Bruce, that's your solventless, fresh frozen rosin. So that gets you, that's what that would talk about, heat, time, and pressure. So that's just the, most ancient technique there in terms of using water and ice as a solvent for sure. But, a lot of people really do like that quality there because, again, trace amounts of protein or butane, which, again, all of the products in the legal market are tested for. The guys that are doing it the method of, good old Walter White, you're not going to have testing and analytics on those processes. So you don't want to be, burning and inhaling propane or butane straight into your lungs. So shoot, that is a heck of a rundown, guys. And I just wanted to create some of that thought process there as you go and experiment and think about, hey, I want this, I want live resin. It sounds better because it says live or whatever it is. Well, interesting, compare it to a cured resin product. I would highly, suggest that. And you're still going to have to figure out which manufacturers are doing a good job at that. Like, tell you right now, Botanics Extracts does a fantastic cured resin pen. They really actually do a great job at that. So again, you're going to find different things around that have different oil consistency, so on and so forth. But cannabis extraction is a whole, entire conglomerate of stuff. And granted, we're not going through the chemistry of everything today. Just want to make sure that everybody gets informed. And, you guys out shopping for the weekend, for the holidays, for whatever it might be, I guarantee you most of the even veterans, whether you're cannabis confused, cannabis curious, cannabis naive, or a cannabis veteran, most of us can't sit here and go through this chart and really break it down and then talk about why we want to use it as a product. So again, that's something just to recognize as a shortfall for the industry, and we'll make sure that we educate and we do what we got to do. So no big deal there at all, everybody. So let's move on. Community Spotlight segment brought to you by the Baked Chicken Farm, guys. We are highlighting, as you can see up in the corner. Oh, wow. Why, hello there. Let's do this. Up in that corner, Vado Speedway Park tickets this weekend. Mariachi's out there. It's going to be a great time Friday and Saturday. We've got the final end of our weekly racing series over at Vado Speedway Park. Get you guys showing the picture here. Boom, boom, boom. So November 18th at 3 p.m., the Mariachis are going to be performing group Holly Science on the car course. So don't get me wrong if I butcher the name, but otherwise we're going to have sprint cars weekend, Friday and Saturday. It's going to be awesome. Right before it gets super, super cold. Well, even down here in New Mexico, it's not really that big of a deal, but this is just still the perfect time of year to be outside. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be out there calling the races, having a great time, so on and so forth. Hope to see you guys there. Get those tickets ahead of time. Make some fun weekend plans. Anyways, guys, last thing today, raising awareness on prostate cancer. Movember, we're going to keep sharing tips, insights, so on and so forth. Prostate cancer to my Movember guys. Okay, prostate cancer, the most commonly diagnosed cancer in men in the United States. Globally, more than 1.4 million men are diagnosed with prostate cancer each year. Know the facts and take action early. So, early detection, it's the key. The difference between early detection can be life and death. Here's what you need to do and when. When you're 50, you need to have a conversation with your doctor about PSA testing. If you're African American, do it at 45. If you have a family history of prostate cancer, do it at 45. So who's at risk? Your risk of developing prostate cancer increases with age, but that doesn't mean it's a disease that only affects old men. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men worldwide. Men who are African American and men who have a family history, brother or father with prostate cancer, are 2.5 times percent more likely to get it. So if you're 50, you should be talking to your doctor about PSA testing. If you're African American, start it at 45. Or if you have a brother and father who have prostate cancer in their history, go ahead and start it at 45. So again, PSA, it's a simple blood test, prostate-specific antigen concentration in the blood, primary method of testing for prostate cancer. Go do it. Go get the test. Get done. Detecting it really can save there. Sometimes, treatment can just be monitoring. So again, without growing a mustache, that's my Movember contribution for today, and we're going to continue to contribute every single day. Hope you guys are having a good rest of your Tuesday. And yeah, that's it for me. Ba-boom.